As inflation soars, the Federal Reserve says that it could raise interest rates at least 3 times in 2022. CBS News senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe reports.
New pressure on the Biden administration tonight as the Federal Reserve warns soaring prices aren't going away anytime soon.
The risk of higher inflation becoming entrenched has increased.
While unemployment is dropping, prices are up across the board, from groceries and gas to used cars and rent. Also of concern for the economy, the winter COVID surge.
The rise in COVID cases in recent weeks, along with the emergence of the Omicron variant, pose risks to the outlook.
Nearly 70% of Americans disapprove of President Biden's handling of inflation, and he knows it's a challenge.
For working people and middle-class people, it's a big hit. It is. The inflation, at least for the time being, is real.
The higher prices are affecting almost everyone, from a coffee shop owner in New Jersey.
Everything that we need, coffee cups, coffee, sugar, milk, everything is a lot more expensive.
To consumers.
It's scary. To me, with the corona, with the pandemic, with the new virus, that goes with the inflation. So it's all brought in together.
The Federal Reserve also signaled today it would raise interest rates next year for the first time since late 2018. Another reason people should expect to pay more.
If you're trying to borrow money to purchase a car, that could be a higher rate. If you're borrowing money to start a new business, that could be a higher rate. Most of us are either savers or borrowers, and Fed moves impact us.
And Ed O'Keefe joins me now with more from the White House. Hey there, Ed. So what impact is the Federal Reserve's decision going to have on everyday Americans?
Oh, it's going to have all sorts of an effect. I mean, first of all, if you're somebody who's been saving money, you may get a little bit more of a return on that. But if you're somebody who's, for example, thinking of buying a home, you may want to figure that out pretty quickly before these interest rates go up in the spring, because you may end up paying a higher interest rate on your mortgage. It will affect all sorts of things regarding saving and borrowing, and eventually potentially extend to other elements of prices. But today they made it clear that at least, or potentially, 3 different interest rate hikes are going to be necessary to help reset things, that now that the pandemic era rescue is essentially sufficient, they believe, and can be winded down.
Well, good if you're concerned about those inflation, the prices of everyday items going up, but not so good if you're looking to refinance or buy a new home.
Right.
All right. So, Ed, let's talk about Omicron. How much is the spread of that variant and concerns about its impact on the economy, and even the continued spread of Delta playing into the Fed's decision?
They made very clear today in their written statements that the pandemic remains a variable that could very well affect not only inflation, but the bouncing back of the labor market and then economic growth overall. That's something they've been saying really throughout this pandemic, but especially in the last several weeks as Chairman Powell testified on Capitol Hill, was renominated by the president, and other Fed members of the Fed have been speaking out. I mean, obviously, it remains a variable in everyday life and everything we do these days, whether or not you're going to be able to get together with people for Christmas, whether or not you're going to be able to travel, in this case, whether companies may reopen, whether they may hire more, whether people will go out and feel confident in spending or making hotel or plane reservations, for example. So obviously it's something that remains a big unknown, and it's a reminder that, you know, the inflation that's underway right now, yes, has been driven in part by the fact that the economy is trying to readjust, and yet always has to kind of be looking over its shoulder, wondering if either the Delta or the Omicron variant or something else related to the pandemic could slow things down yet again.
That's such a good way of putting it. I feel like we're all kind of hoping to find ourselves on steady ground, but constantly looking over our shoulder at what might be happening next. You know, this was a really interesting press conference announcement by the Federal Reserve Chair, because he had already acknowledged that inflation will linger longer than expected. I think all of that information is still so frustrating to Americans. Just spell it out for us, Ed. When do officials really hope now to see those prices decrease or at least level off?
Well, look, the goal is to get to 2% inflation. That's about average, or what the Fed at least believes it should be sufficient. At some point next year, they expect it to get to about 2.3%. So it will come down. But still maybe a little above where they'd like it, and then drop a little more in 2023. By 2024-25, hit the 2% mark. So it is something he has said could linger into the third quarter of next year. That's not great for everyday consumers. It's certainly not also great for the guy that lives at this house, the White House, because the political ramifications of this, even though there's very little a president and his party can do to drive it down, just given market forces, and they shouldn't necessarily have the ability to do anything about it, is something that could result in them being held accountable by voters. Because when economic conditions aren't great, one of the first things they do is take it out on those in charge. So Democrats know this. The president has been speaking out about it. I held 2 local interviews with CBS stations in Ohio and South Carolina yesterday, where he pointed out that, yes, it's an issue. We're working on it. We've released some gas from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to help bring down gas prices. But also he hinted at the possibility that part of this is being driven by consolidation in certain industries, and he called it the meatpacking industry specifically. The White House has been doing this over the last several weeks, raising concerns that, for example, Tyson's Foods may have acquired too much of that industry and is keeping prices high because there's so little competition from other providers at the grocery meat aisle. So, is that the reason they're staying high? Not necessarily, no, or at least not the leading one. But it's something the Democrats increasingly believe is a factor in some of these sectors and why gas prices or grocery prices have remained high. We talked to our Jill Schlesinger, our economic analyst. She said, no, that's not the only reason. I mean, maybe it's part of it. But mostly it's, look, people have money to spend, and there isn't necessarily supply to get it back. And so that's what's driving up the inflation. So as the supply chains correct themselves, as the furniture ships later this year, as the toys get delivered, as the other goods and services that people have been looking for become available into the spring and the summer next year, you'll start to see those prices right size.
Yeah, and as we're talking about the economy, the health of our national economy, Congress just passed a measure to increase the debt ceiling hours before the deadline. Wednesday was the day that the Treasury warned that the U.S. may default if that wasn't done. So how soon do we expect the president to sign that into law, and how long will this cover us?
You would think he would have done it today, but of course he spent most of this Wednesday in Kentucky. The White House says he will sign the legislation on Thursday, that the U.S. Treasury appears to have found just enough money to keep the lights on, or at least the borrowing authority, through tomorrow.
And Ed, obviously we're just a few weeks away from the end of the year. Lawmakers have yet to pass President Biden's social spending and climate bill. I feel like it's a little bit of a broken record, but things over in the White House, their messaging is what I really am concerned about. What do they say about where negotiations currently stand?
White House doesn't like to comment on private conversations that the president has with individual lawmakers, but in this case they say the conversations with that key moderate senator, Joe Manchin, have been productive, and that they continue. There have been reports, however, today that the two sides are far apart on aspects of the Build Back Better plan, including the fate of the child tax credit payments that people have been receiving. Millions of families. Today was the day that the last of those payments went out. The rest of the benefit will be seen once people file their taxes next year. But this was a one-year tax credit. Democrats would like to make it permanent, or at least extend it for a few years. They would do that through the Build Back Better plan, but word came today from the Capitol, some acknowledgement by those close to the president, that the goal of getting it passed by Christmas is unlikely to be met, and there isn't necessarily a rush to bring the Senate back between Christmas and New Year's to get it done, given that Senator Manchin and a few others have some concerns, not just about the child tax credit, but about issues in there regarding climate change, regarding potential tax relief to people who live in parts of the country where property taxes are high, some other elements regarding paid leave. So all that, plus some procedural work that has to be done by the Senate umpire or the Senate parliamentarian regarding what exactly can be in this kind of budget legislation, all means that it'll likely get kicked into next year. And close observers of congressional action notice that the Senate calendar for 2022 begins with a legislative day on Monday, January 3rd, which would suggest they may get right back from the holiday and get started. We'll see.
You always have the inside track. You're always looking at those little details, Ed. Thank you so much.
Take care.